You see what I did there? See the title? That's pretty clever, huh? Well guys, it's finally here. The dreaded Ghostbusters reboot. If you guys have been following the behind the scenes stuff and just all the shady things that Sony's been doing leading up to this movie and how it got made and all that, then you probably understand why I want this thing to die a horrible, ugly death at the box office. But honestly guys, over the past couple days, I've had something of an epiphany. I've gotten over this movie. I've gotten over everything that's behind it and everything it stands for. And honestly, I'm not really bugged by its existence anymore. And I'm here to give you 3 reasons why we all need to just calm down. I'm not gonna lie guys, I was actually looking forward to seeing this movie just because I wanted to have that experience. I never saw Jack and Jill, and I feel like there's something of a rite of passage to just saying, yeah, I've seen the worst that comedy has to offer. But all the reviews this weekend have been saying, yeah, no, it's not great, it's not the worst thing ever, it's kind of okay. Pretty much all the consistent lines that I've heard in all these reviews have been that it starts out really good, and then somewhere around the midway mark it just drops off and becomes just boring, mediocre schlock. But in hindsight, that might actually be the best thing for this movie. Because it's in the middle and it doesn't do anything risky, it doesn't do anything new, it doesn't do anything memorable, we're all gonna forget it in a couple months. If this thing sucks, it's gonna be like the Star Wars prequels. Every conversation about Ghostbusters, this will be brought up. But if it's mediocre, I mean, shoot, why bring it up at all? It'll fade into obscurity. People will forget about it, and that is the best thing that could happen in this situation. When people say that they're so upset with all these reboots, and they're just sick of it all, and they want it to go away, they always bring up the Total Recall reboot, or the RoboCop reboot, and say, we've gone too far, now we're doing Ghostbusters, this is ridiculous. But do you guys remember the Total Recall remake? Or the RoboCop remake? Yeah, that's what I thought. They were all bland, forgettable movies that made a little bit of money at the box office and then disappeared, and nobody talked about it. When I say Total Recall, you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. When I say RoboCop, you think of that cool thing from the 80s. Ideally, 10 years from now, when I say Ghostbusters, you're gonna think of the real Ghostbusters. By the way, you know something funny about all 3 of these movies? All made by Sony, which brings me to my next point.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
Seriously, ever since 2012, Sony's been running around like a chicken with its head cut off. The whole Sony leaks situation kind of let us know what's going on behind there, and they are panicking big time. This is a studio that has their hands in pretty much everything and has had success with nothing. Actually, saying 2012 is kind of being generous. Realistically, Sony kind of went crazy after they lost Sam Raimi. It all started with that Spider-Man reboot, and now it's come to this. Sony is desperate to get a big moneymaker franchise out there. They had to cut a deal with Marvel in order to keep Spider-Man alive. Spectre kind of brought Bond down another peg from where Skyfall was. They had 21 Jump Street, and that's about it. Seriously, Sony is making nothing right now, and that terrifies them. They need a big-time franchise to milk so they can keep putting bread on the table. And through the Sony leaks, we've been seeing all the crazy, insane stuff they've been doing to try and keep their head above water. Remember when Sinister 6 was gonna happen? Or how about that Spider-Gwen movie, even though she just died? There were rumors about an Aunt May spin-off movie at one point. And that Men in Black 22 Jump Street crossover? Ha ha ha! That's happening! They're doing that! That got greenlit! That's a thing! I'm sorry, Ghostbusters fans, but this was inevitable. This version in particular, specifically because of Amy Pascal. For those of you who don't know, she was the producer who heavily pushed for this version of Ghostbusters. Back when Sony still had control of Spider-Man, she was pushing for an all-female-led superhero movie called The Glass Ceiling. Wow, yeah, subtle job there, Amy. Hey, do you think that's politically driven? Think that's trying to appeal to a certain crowd? An all-female-led superhero movie called The Glass Ceiling? All that, oh, we're giving little girls someone to look up to, that's a load of crap. They found a market that they can easily exploit and will inevitably give them a ton of money. And they have to do it to keep the lights on. Sony is a wounded animal that will stop at nothing. By the way, you know the difference between a remake and a reboot? Reboot means there's more movies coming. It's rumored they're gonna try and do like a Marvel's Avengers type thing with this. And there's also a plan to have a Slimer spin-off movie with a female female Slimer as his girlfriend. This is like cinematic fan fiction. This is like if some 13-year-old girl from DeviantArt got $100 million. This is not the worst to come, people. It will get worse. But honestly, guys, if you were super tied to this property before, I just would encourage you to step back and just watch this slow motion car crash with me. It's absolutely insane, and Sony will keep doing stuff like this because they need to survive and they have nothing left to lose. Seriously, if we all just buy PS4s, will they cancel that 21 Jump Street Men in Black thing, please?
Shrieking skull will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
I feel like this is the most important point in the video right here. As this giant crap storm has been swirling around, there's been a kind of a micro movement of people saying, oh yeah, the first one, that wasn't very good. What are you guys talking about? There's no standard to live up to. Yeah, those people are wrong. Ghostbusters is special. It's more than just a cheesy comedy from the 80s. It's a cheesy horror comedy from the 80s. Truly great comedies are hard to come by these days. Truly great horror comedies, that's like a unicorn. Like you'll see maybe one every 6 to 7 years. I think the last like good horror comedy we've had was like Zombieland, also starring Bill Murray, funny enough. What makes Ghostbusters such a unique and special movie is that when you look at the premise, this should be a straight up comedy. And when you look at the villain, this should be a straight up horror movie. But they meet in the middle and they go together like peanut butter and jelly. You've got genuinely creepy, terrifying moments mixed in with Bill Murray being hilarious. And that's what also made this movie feel organically funny, is that it all came from them being themselves. These two characters in particular were funny in the way that like a dog is funny. Like they're just being themselves and they don't fully get how dorky and hilarious they are. So you've got a solid organic comedy, great comedy moments, great horror moments, great villain, great writing. Just overall completely iconic, and nothing about this screams franchise. Even if you like Ghostbusters 2, yeah, I mean, sure, but like that was a sequel that was over a decade later. This movie is the perfect one-off movie, and nothing can touch that, and nothing can take that away. The only way this would ever go away is if an even better Ghostbusters movie came out that made it irrelevant. And clearly, that is not going to happen. A bad movie might destroy a franchise, but it doesn't destroy the original property. That's why you still have Avatar: The Last Airbender fans. That M. Night Shyamalan movie didn't kill it for them, it just made them appreciate the original TV series even more. There are so many aspects to Ghostbusters that just makes it a timeless classic. It still holds up today, it will hold up through the decades, because it is a great horror comedy. So those are 3 reasons why I think we just all need to chill out. So the movie's coming out this week. I may have to see it just for the sake of, you know, being part of the conversation. Then again, I might not. I don't know, I'm still 50-50 on it. What do you guys think? Are you gonna see it? Are you gonna boycott it? Are you just not interested? What are your plans this week? What'd you have for breakfast? Seriously, comment below. Your comments bring me nourishment. Also, no video next week because I'm gonna be at Hume Lake. That event that I did 2 trailer reviews for? Yeah, it's finally time. Finally going. I'm a counselor for the middle school, so that should be interesting. Probably not gonna get a lot of sleep next week. Let's see how much the human body can endure. But I'll be back the week after next with a review of the short film Intelligent Life. Link in the description and right here. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Until next time, God bless and stay saucy.